I think we should be live. Yeah, there we go. So, welcome back to the channel, guys. We have got the sprint race playing in the background, but of course, that has already happened. We had Max Verstappen win the sprint race, Hamilton come in second place, and then Perez in third. But this is just a replay while we wait for qualifying to begin. We've got 25 minutes till qualifying is underway. Apologies for the delays. My laptop was having a bit of a bad day. Not sure exactly what's happening, but yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't commentate the sprint race. The timing was just a little bit too off, and I have exams to prepare for. So, getting up at ridiculous hours in the mornings was not really going to help me do well in exams. So that's why I decided not to. Right. Um, Alonso threw away a podium. Yeah, there was definitely potential for Alonso to get a podium. He ended up with a puncture. In fact, he's currently in second place. On lap number 7, he was in second place, but that all went away after he started battling. Right. Well, the lag should have fixed itself because now it says it's reconnected. So apologies for whatever lag was going on. I'm not sure exactly what the cause of that is because my internet's normally pretty stable, but yeah. Okie dokes. Good morning. Good morning. Right. So just to go over what sort of happened at the sprint race. At the start of the race, of course, there was Lando Norris on pole position, Lewis Hamilton in second place, both British drivers. Start the race, and Hamilton gets a much better start than Lando Norris. Going into turn number 1, they're side by side. Hamilton has the inside line, Lando Norris has the outside line, and turn number 1 is a very long corner, as you guys can see up on screen. So he Hamilton's on the inside line, Lando Norris on the outside. Norris tries to hold it because if you can manage to hold the outside line for round turn number 1, then once you get to turn number 2 and 3, you have the inside line, which means that you will end up, being ahead. So that's what was in Lando Norris's mind. It's like, right, I'm going to hold the outside line, and after holding the outside line, I'm going to take the lead into the following corner. But the problem with that was because it was lap number 1, there had been no racing done on that circuit before. The outside of the circuit was much dirtier than the inside of the circuit. So Lando Norris was holding the outside line. He was using all the grip that he did have on his tyres. But then he got to the outside part of the track. It was far too dirty. He lost a bunch of grip and went wide and lost, I think, 5 positions as a result of that. So a really bad start to the sprint race there for Lando Norris, starting from pole position. And then Hamilton took the lead from there, of course. And of course, he continued on in the lead for a while as Max Verstappen made his way through the pack. And then Verstappen obviously went and took the lead of the race. But the other thing to note really was the battle between Alonso, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc. It was absolutely fantastic. So Alonso was wearing out his tires too quickly compared to the rest of the drivers. He was, I don't know, maybe the Aston Martin's too hard on its tires, but Fernando Alonso running out of tires, so he was losing time to Sainz and everyone behind him really, but he decided to get. It was lap number 16 of 19, so he only had 3 laps to defend. And we know Fernando Alonso, he can definitely defend for 3 laps if the car has it. If his tires don't drop off a cliff and if his car has enough pace. So going into turn number 6, he goes defensive against Carlos Sainz. Alonso gets a little bit of a bad exit, and Carlos Sainz gets an absolutely brilliant exit out of turn number 6. And then as they go towards turn number 7, Alonso takes the outside, Carlos Sainz on the inside, and Alonso holds it around the outside. Then going through turn number 8, Carlos Sainz takes Alonso around the outside, but then going into the braking zone for turn number 9, Fernando Alonso is maybe 2-3 car lengths behind, but just sends it on the brakes, right? There's absolutely nothing that Sainz could do, and he had to take a little bit of avoiding action, and in that chaos, Sergio Perez overtook the both of them. He was like, "Thank you very much for battling away. I'll take both your positions." And then going down the following straight, Fernando Alonso had realised he'd got a puncture by doing all of that battle, so he came into the pits afterwards. But then the two Ferraris, Sainz and Leclerc, started squabbling, and into the hairpin, Sainz was on the inside, Leclerc on the outside, and Sainz just brakes a little bit too deep, and he pushes Leclerc off the road. Leclerc wasn't happy about that over the radio. Um, Especially when your teammates like pushing each other wide is just not a good look, really. Um, so yeah, they really had to sort that out. Um, yeah, not ideal whatsoever between the Ferrari teammates, and then the two McLarens in seventh and eighth position. Like they lost out. Well, Lando Norris lost out quite a lot. Piastri gained a couple of positions, but yeah, not ideal to say the least for Lando Norris. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna fast forward these timings right to the end of the session. And as you can see, Fernando Alonso ended up retiring, and everyone else was, ended up in the race. George Russell was a bit of a surprise. They started the race on the soft tyres. Everyone else was on the mediums. Russell had a couple of positions to make up, so that's what he did with the soft tyres, and then started defending because they dropped off a cliff. But yeah, the sprint race is over, and qualifying starting in 17 minutes' time. So, yeah. Joe was so close to scoring points. Yes, he was. He was in ninth position. But, if the sprint race is anything to go by, the Saubers do have pace. So there is a chance that Joe can score points in the race, which will be, great to see, especially at his home race as well. Right. Okie dokes. Yeah, not too much action in the sprint race. There was, of course, action at the start of the race, and then I think lap number 16, we had a bit of action, but apart from that, really not that much going on in the sprint race. What else have we got to talk about? Well, um, this time we'll actually see the pace of the cars around the circuit because, of course, in the sprint qualifying, we found out, who was quick in the wet, who was quick in the dry. But the new qualifying is what's going to. The new qualifying is what's going to, indicate what's happened. The screen is frozen. This is what it's meant to be like. It's just the end of the race, so all the drivers coming back into the pit lane. Um, yeah, I will refresh it once we get close to qualifying and the data comes up, but that'll be only in 10 minutes time or so. Right. Let me know what your predictions are. Do you think it's just going to be the same as? Well, it's obviously not going to be the same as sprint qualifying because we didn't have rain, but I have a feeling that we definitely are going to have Verstappen back at the top again. He clearly showed that his car was pretty quick in today's sprint race, so it should not be too difficult to go and get pole position. I'm just gonna have a quick drink of water. I'll be back in just a sec. Right. Um. Yeah. Oh, and I would like to just update you guys. So, we was talking about Daniel Ricciardo yesterday. He has got a new chassis. So that new chassis could have paid off really because as you can see, Daniel Ricciardo is up in Danny Rick's up in 11th position, which is great, really, because he's finally got ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Of course, Tsunoda did have a bad qualifying. He ended up, I think, in knocked out of Q1. So there wasn't that much time for him to regain some places. Nevertheless, though, we have Danny Rick gaining some positions and staying in 11th place, being ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. That is, all important for him. He's got to show that he is a quick driver and he hasn't lost all of his pace, um, which is great. So hopefully we can see some more competition between the two AlphaTauri drivers. Okie dokes. What else is going on the circuit? Well, really not that much going on the circuit, to be fair. Kind of just been a little bit quiet as all of the teams are preparing for the qualifying session. Not too much to talk about. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, the other thing, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, both of them have seen quite a big improvement in pace. So I have a feeling that they brought a couple of small upgrades and then really fine tuned the way they are setting up their car. Because, yeah, a seriously good job from them. And we have some, there's the potential that they can go and score some solid points today, which would be absolutely fantastic. Well, qualify potentially in the points, and then we'll see what they can do tomorrow. But I definitely think there's a good chance for um, for the Aston Martins to qualify well. Right. Yeah. No, the old one. Ricardo has a new chassis because he crashed the previous one. Yeah, I don't think it's different. No, Danny Rick definitely does have a different chassis. I don't know if it's new or different, but it's definitely not the same chassis that he had for the first three races or the first four races. So there we go. Um, McLaren looked fifth fastest in the race. Yeah, they were. Unfortunately, they were. Well, actually, that being said, they weren't that quick in qualifying. Lando Norris just had a sensational lap, right? He just had one sensational lap as well because he went and did another lap time. It was 2 seconds off his pole time, so he just had one really good lap, and so that's kind of, I think, what inflated our view of what the McLaren should be like. Whereas, they were probably most likely. Yeah, fourth fastest, fifth fastest. I mean, if you account Fernando Alonso as a team, then a fifth fastest. But if you don't, then fourth fastest. So yeah, McLaren, they are very close though. They're a lot closer to Ferrari than you would expect, and yeah, Mercedes have managed to bring some pace out of nowhere, really. See, this is the thing. I think with Mercedes that sometimes that some weekends they do have pace, some weekends they don't, and it's just a little bit, yeah, a little bit unpredictable with them. And Toto Wolff keeps going on about how they have a fundamental, issue with their car. But they've had this fundamental issue with their car for 3 years now, and they still haven't managed to fix it or find a workaround or anything like that. So yeah, Mercedes is a bit of a hit and miss. I wouldn't be surprised if Hamilton starts whining again when something doesn't work out. Well, to be fair, Hamilton was whining. I think in one of the practice sessions, he was like, "The car's really bad" or something, and the team were just like, "Yeah, we know, thanks." So not ideal from Lewis Hamilton, but he's going to move to Ferrari next year, so we'll see what you can do. We'll see what you can do there. Right. Do you think Alonso will make quali? I think Alonso will make quali. The reason he retired was he just had a puncture. He had a puncture on the second to last lap of the race or something, and there was no point pitting and coming out again, so they just retired the car. Yeah. yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, um, yeah. Checo Perez fan says, I'm a Paris fan. You know, your name checks out. Definitely does. Um, yeah. Right, 8 minutes till we get underway for 8 minutes till we get underway for qualifying. If that was a full race, the Ferraris and McLarens would have overtaken Lewis. Yeah, like, well, I'm not sure exactly. Hamilton was still holding his pace up there. You know, his most recent lap his last lap of the race was a 1:42.9, and the only driver quicker than the 1:42.9 was Perez and Leclerc. So I feel like at the end of the race, then Perez and Leclerc would have overtaken them, but Sainz, Norris, and Piastri still would have had to pick up the pace a bit if they wanted to overtake Lewis Hamilton. So yeah, Mercedes this weekend at least they seem to be quick, and we'll see if Russell can match Hamilton. Of course, they had a bit of an unfortunate situation with the qualifying yesterday. The rain came down at the wrong time. Russell made a mistake on his first lap and then got knocked out of qualifying. So if they can, fix those issues, which I'm sure they will because it's not raining, we will have the two Mercs probably quite close to each other. Exactly like the two McLarens and the two Ferraris as well. Okie dokes. Right, I think I might just refresh the data now. With 7 minutes to go, the qualifying data should have come through. Let's have a look. There we go. Qualifying data is up. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Very much do appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like button, that'd very much be appreciated. Hopefully, we can hit 500 likes by the end of the stream. Yeah, not too much else to comment on. So the what am I going to say? The current qualifying standings are well, the FP1 standings were Stroll in first position, Piastri in second, Verstappen in third. So that's why the screen is in the current position and the drivers are in the current order that they are in. But yeah, nothing too exciting really. Track temperature 35 degrees, air temperature 22 degrees, no sight of rain whatsoever. So, a fairly standard weekend. 35 degrees is pretty high, but I'm sure Pirelli have taken that into account when picking their tyres for this weekend. And of course, we have the normal qualifying format, so the teams can choose whichever tyre they want. And they can use they probably will be using the softs for the entire duration of Q1, Q2, and Q3. All right, 5 minutes till we get underway now. Not long whatsoever. A quick tour of the circuit, as you will. It's a 5.5 kilometer long circuit and two DRS zones. One of the longest straights on the Formula One calendar, and a whole lot of action to take place. And also in qualifying, one thing to note: getting a toe down the back straight is worth nearly 4/5 tenths. It is ridiculous how much time these drivers can gain by having a toe down the back straight. So 4/5 tenths is the um is the amount of time that the drivers will gain if they have a slipstream down the back straight. So that is one thing to keep an eye out. If someone, like Fernando Alonso ends up in first position and you see that his third sector is 5/10 quicker than the rest of the competition, you know that the Aston Martin team lined up a perfect slipstream, and Fernando Alonso took full advantage and got into a certain position. So, yeah, if someone has a purple third sector, it's most likely that they did have a slipstream. going down the back straight. Has Mercedes upgraded? Hamilton P2 is quite surprising for the sprint race. That indeed is. Mercedes, I think they have a couple of small upgrades, but nothing major because you don't bring major upgrades to a sprint race because you don't have enough time to test them. Because with only one practice session, well, that's 1 hour of testing time, and you won't be able to pick the right setup in that situation. So the teams just go for, the teams just go for one. They go for all, like minor upgrades, and then the major upgrades come on a different weekend when they don't have a sprint race. So I think it's just setup tweaks really, and Hamilton being at the right place at the right time, and managing to hold on. Right, not the sprint for the quali. No, this is the qualifying for the actual race, and the sprint race is totally separate now. Like it does not affect the race in any manner whatsoever. Um, Yeah, so that's the way that they've done it. It's separated out. So one thing, if you have a bad sprint quali, then it doesn't affect your sprint race or anything like that. Okie dokes. But yeah, there we go. We have a couple of drivers, in fact, lined up at the end of the pit lane. The two Alpines have lined up at the end of the pit lane here, with now 1 minute, 2 minutes to go, for qualifying, and the Alpines already out in the garage, and we've got the Kick Saubers as well. Everyone getting out as early as possible. Quite interesting. Not exactly sure why they're doing that, but you know they can do what they like. I'm just going to get rid of this timer here because qualifying starting shortly. Lewis's engine failed a few races ago, so there must have been a minor modification to improve reliability. Well, I'm sure the FIA are monitoring all of the sort of upgrades that are going on. Um, with the engine side of things, because there is an engine freeze. You can't increase your engine performance, you can only increase the engine reliability. Now, of course, there is a little bit of like a sort of a semi loophole there. If you increase your reliability so much, you can just put the engine in a higher engine mode and get away with it without it blowing up. So yeah, there's small performance upgrades to be found by upgrading the reliability of your engine, but not really that much. If it rains, it's all about Alonso, Hamilton, Perez, and Bottas. Well, thing is, it's the rain is getting more and more unlikely as we look out at the sky. Um, yeah, is mode 8 party mode? Unfortunately, I don't think it is. I think it's Strat 7 for the Honda engines is like full send mode, and then for the Mercs it was mode 11. I think it was. I'm not sure though. But the thing is, they can't change engine mode anyway. They have to be in the same engine mode, and they can only change their battery deployment. So it doesn't really matter what mode they're in as of now. So yeah, there we go. Qualifying is underway, and we have got drivers coming out of the pit lane. Brilliant to see. Okie dokes. The Alpines, the AlphaTauris, all getting out onto the circuit as of now. And just doing the usual warm up your tires, and there we go. I don't know how Hulkenberg is so far ahead of everyone else. Oh, there we go. Right, his GPS was a little bit broken, and everyone's sort of squabbling to make their way out quickly. Yeah. Oh, and this is one other thing, because we had the sprint race, sorry, earlier today. Track evolution is not going to be as key in this session because of the fact that there have already been 20 cars that have done 19 laps on this circuit already. Um, so yeah, just less track evolution. to worry about, so the drivers can focus less on being as late as possible and more on getting the best tow as possible. That would be the main focus of everyone, um, currently qualifying. Oh, let me just move that back to where it was. There we go. Right, just adjusting the timings for everything now. Ooh, the data has just frozen. It will be back in 30 seconds, guys. So apologies for the data freeze. It'll be back in 30 seconds. Um, just to keep you updated on what's going on the circuit, we've just got the drivers driving around, warming up their tires, and we've got an interesting choice here. Carlos Sainz on medium tires. Not exactly sure why he's done that. I think maybe just to get a banker lap in and use up some old mediums that he had. Like, look at that, he's done 6 laps on those mediums already. So I think he's just setting a banker lap on his first lap, and then they're going to go and use the actual softs. Later on in the session. But yeah. Right, so we have got Guan Yu Zhou on a hot lap. We've got quite a few drivers, in fact, on a hot lap. The Ferrari's out as well. Leclerc's out of the pits as well. Yeah. Hulkenberg, the first driver to set the first sector, and obviously goes purple as well, doing that. Um, Yeah, rain gods need to rain, saving for the intermediate. Something new in the race. Yeah, I would. It would be great if it did rain. Unfortunately, the clouds though. Well, it is cloudy actually. Quite a bit of clouds, but they don't look particularly like rain clouds. They look just like the kind of clouds that sit there all day, kind of ruin your mood because it's all grey outside, and then don't end up raining as well. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. Very much do appreciate all of the support. If you could hit the like button, that would be absolutely fantastic. Very much do appreciate it. Um, yeah. But yeah, for now, we have got Sonoda, first driver to come across the line, a 138.1, and then Gasly next one, a 136.9. Yeah, Sonoda definitely made a mistake somewhere. Where was that mistake that he made? Oh, just everywhere in the lap. I think he was just driving around slowly. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but um, yeah, a 136 for Yuki Tsunoda. 138, sorry, for Yuki Tsunoda. A little bit slow, really. Right. I don't know. I'm not like Hulkenberg's on provisional pole. Yeah, that is definitely a sign of not being late. Okie dokes. So everyone just making their way around, coming across the line. We got George Russell across the line, a 136.4 from him, only 2 tenths quicker than Kevin Magnussen. Quite interesting there. I mean, the gap between Russell and Hamilton yesterday was quite big, but that was, well, we thought that was because Russell had just lost a massive amount of pace, massive amount of time due to the rain coming down at the wrong time for him. He had made a mistake on his previous lap, and then the rain started falling, and that's why he ended up getting knocked out. That's what we thought. Why is the screen frozen? Very strange. Right. But yeah, as Verstappen makes his way around, they've got the camera on him, and nothing too exciting really for Max Verstappen there. Just driving away. Ooh, we've got a little bit of lag popping up on the screen. Hopefully, it doesn't affect you guys too much. Science on the mediums, yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. Since they've added new regulations in which the teams can't choose as many tires as they previously did. I think it was previously they had 13 sets of tires and now they only have 11. So if Ferrari want to go for a certain strategy in the race, to have that tire flexibility, I think what they've just done is that they've said that right, like we're going to choose whichever tires that we want, and we're not going to worry about it too much. So, in the first run of Q1, it doesn't really matter what they're doing. I'm just going to have a refresh of this track map. Just hang on a second. Yeah, I'm just going to give me a second. I'm going to set the stream up again so it's, stops freezing. Right, the data will reappear in a matter. Well, there we go. It's just reappeared, and we have timings once again. Apologies for, yeah, don't know what's going on, but there we are. Right, so we're just looking at the replays here. Sergio Perez coming over the radio saying that he's complaining about traffic here. So just a replay of what happened. He was going into turn number 1. There was Logan Sargent in Alex Albon, sorry. Alex Albon was on the outside of turn number 1 here. And a couple of drivers take a different line through turn number 1. Perez was taking one that goes to the outside as much as possible. So he got really distracted by the fact that Albon was exactly where he wanted to go and ended up aborting his lap right there, coming over the radio being like, what is Albon doing? Albon comes over the radio saying, I was as far wide as I could have been. And that's what is up with my internet today? Like, this is just right. There we go. Yeah, hopefully my internet can. Right, yeah. Apologies for the lack of internet today. Right, let's just cover what's happened in Q1 so far. We had Piastri currently in the lead of this in this qualifying session, Alonso in second place, and Max Verstappen in third. So I don't know how Piastri's done that. To be honest, his first and second sector are purple, which is quite the surprise because normally it's the third sector that's purple and the first and second sector are just green. So yeah, quite strange there from Oscar Piastri, but we'll wait and see if he can hold it. It has good signs for McLaren's pace. Currently, Carlos Sainz on a hot lap, got a purple middle sector. Unfortunately, no one to give him a tow round his round the final corner, round the back straight. Sorry, Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's on an in lap. That does not matter. Let's see what Carlos Sainz can do. So, coming out of the final corner now, he makes his way to the start finish line. and comes across the line to go into first position, a 134.9 for him, just half a tenth quicker than Oscar Piastri and 2/10 ahead of Max Verstappen. So that is great to see. Yeah, well, we'll have to keep an eye out for if this is just track evolution. I thought there would be less track evolution considering there have been 19 laps already driven on this circuit by every single driver. But yeah, interesting that we're still getting more and more track evolution as the session progresses. There we go. 5 minutes remain in the session. The current elimination zone is Sergio Perez because he got a lap time deleted. And then we have Kevin Magnussen, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, and Daniel Ricciardo all in the elimination zone as of now. So yeah, quite strange. We wouldn't have expected Hamilton or Norris to be there, especially since they started the sprint race in first and second place. Norris currently on an outlap, I think, and now is about to start his flying lap. So let's keep an eye on Lando Norris as he makes his way down the start finish straight. DRS is open. He heads towards turn number 1, braking at the 50-meter mark, very, very late on the brakes, holds that inside line that is so critical through turn number 1, gets a nice exit out of turn number 3, smoothly onto the power, and then makes his way through the kink of turn number 5 towards turn 6. Braking nicely there, not locking up the outsides like we've seen quite a few drivers do today, and now heads towards turn number 7. Norris, his first sector was green, not purple. But as he makes his way through the middle sector, he sets a purple mini sector, so he is going pretty quickly, is Lando Norris. And now through turn number 10, holds that flat. Nicely done there from Lando Norris. And now towards turn number 11, we have quite a few lockups going into this corner. So let's see what Lando Norris can do. He makes his way through there nicely. And now the banking of turn number 13 should help himself, should help him make a good exit onto the back straight. And there he goes. DRS will be activated and approaching 314 kilometers an hour today. So drivers have opted for a little bit of a higher downforce setup to minimize the tire wear that they have in the race. And that's why they're only reaching 314 Ks down the back straight. And that is why slipstream and DRS is far much more important in today's qualifying. And here comes Lando Norris out of the final corner across the line for first position, a 134.8, 1/10 ahead of Carlos Sainz and 2/10 ahead of his teammate. So track evolution pretty key, as we can see, with Max Verstappen down in 5th position, 3/10 behind the competition. It's fair to say track evolution is having quite a big effect on these lap times. Checo got his lap time deleted. Yes, he did. He exceeded track limits on turn number 1. So that's why he got a lap time deleted. But anyway, Perez is on a hot lap now, so he's coming out the final corner, and here he goes. Out of the final corner he comes, currently in 20th, up into 6th position. He did that on a used set of tyres, one extra prep lap on those set of tyres, so that is Sergio Perez's final lap for today, well, for Q1, and we'll wait and see if that can make him through. Okie dokes. Right, we have got Hamilton P18. Why is that? Can someone explain? Hamilton, by the looks of it, just set a lap right at the start of the session. The track wasn't as quick as it was, and that's why he's down in 19th position. But he's currently on a warm-up lap, and he'll be making his way to making his way to the start finish line to start a hot lap with 1 minute 44 left on the clock. All of the drivers will have more than enough time to make it round to the start of the session, start of the lap, and set their final hot lap. We've got all of the drivers, even Verstappen and Perez, have decided to come out for a hot lap. The top 4, though, Norris, Sainz, Piastri, and Alonso, have decided to stay where they are And I think fair enough that everyone else has come out, because Bottas has just come across the line in 5th position. A really good lap there from Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton starting his flying lap. Danny Rick starting his flying lap as well. And look at that, a purple first sector from Alex Albon. Wow. Yeah, a very good first sector to say the least. And Logan Sargent is off on turn number 9. He is still going, but he's gone wide. And not great there from Logan Sargent. According to a temporary yellow flag, might have screwed up Nico Hulkenberg's lap there. But yeah, Sargent going very slowly. He was on a hot lap, made a mistake, but he's recovered from it, has not gone into the barriers. And that's what caused a little bit of a yellow flag. But the yellow flag is clear. Everyone else can still proceed with their hot laps. Pierre Gasly and, Albon comes across the line for 7th position. A very quick lap indeed there for Alex Albon, but we'll wait and see what the rest of the drivers do. Ocon across the line to start a flying lap. We've got Charles Leclerc also coming across the line to start a flying lap. And look at this. We have Lance Stroll, purple in the first sector. So the Aston Martin's pretty quick. We saw Alex Albon as well with a purple first sector. So first sector times are tumbling. And this is another thing that the drivers have to keep in mind here. As Hulkenberg goes up to 4th position, the first sector is quite draining on the tyres. And if you use up too much of your tyre life in the first sector, you're going to pay the price in the second and the third sector. So the drivers sometimes make the conscious decision to go 95% in the first sector, and then they make sure to attack in the final sector when they still have tyres. So, if you go a little bit too quick in the first sector, like Stroll has done, your middle sector time will be slower, and that's exactly what we can see here. Stroll's middle sector time was yellow, and he comes across the line in 8th position. We'll see if that is enough to make it through. George Russell next across the line into 5th place. Then we have got Max Verstappen, who is currently, where is he? Oh, well, it doesn't matter where he was. He's currently in 1st position. And then we've got Sergio Perez, who's in 12th place as of now, across the line. Does not improve. That could be pretty risky. There's quite a few drivers still left to finish their laps. Gasly up into 9th. That pushes Perez down into 13th place. There is a serious risk that he gets eliminated here. Ocon is next across the line. He's up into 11th. Perez now down to 14th. Leclerc, who's currently in 18th, as he crosses the line, he goes up into 2nd. Perez in 15th position, and if one more driver improves, then Perez will be knocked out. Here comes Yuki Tsunoda in 19th position. Unfortunately, he does not improve, and Sergio Perez might have just scraped it through by a half a tenth. That was so close there for Sergio Perez. And Guan Yu Zhou eliminated out of his home Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton in 18th position, unable to get close to George Russell. Daniel Ricciardo out-qualified Yuki Tsunoda by 0.3 of a second here. Tsunoda had a bad qualifying yesterday, had a bad qualifying today. And Daniel Rick, maybe with his new chassis, has gone to outperform Yuki Tsunoda. Yeah, Lewis, after being in 2nd place yesterday, is now down in 18th position today. And not ideal. I don't know how he's done that. With George Russell up in 7th position and Hamilton in 19th, the gap between the two drivers is half a second. And usually these drivers are neck and neck. The pace between them is half a tenth at most. And now it's half a second. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how that's happened. But Lewis Hamilton will have to, make a lot of positions up in tomorrow's race if he's going to score some points. Yeah, the Mercs below both Hasses. Hulkenberg ahead of Russell and Magnussen ahead of Hamilton. Very strange. Would not expect that to happen. I don't know how Hulkenberg is up in 6th and Magnussen's down in 17th. That's another very big gap between the two drivers. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Do you think Lewis has still got it? His performance compared to last year has fallen off pretty badly. Well, see, this is the thing, guys. Yesterday, Lewis Hamilton up in 2nd place with a, with a sensational qualifying lap. And if Norris, his lap got deleted for track limits, it got put back in, of course. but that still doesn't discount the fact that Hamilton was up there in second place, had a brilliant lap in the rain, quicker than Verstappen. Verstappen ended up getting his 2 lap times deleted in the rain. He was quicker than Alonso. So that's not to say that Lewis Hamilton has fallen off. Clearly, he's got some pace. If yesterday he was in second position, so who knows? A little bit of inconsistency, not exactly sure. But Q2 will be getting underway shortly now. Yeah. Yuki unfortunately knocked out. Yeah, the two big surprises were Hamilton and Yuki Tsunoda, and it was the same as yesterday. Yesterday we had George Russell and Yuki Tsunoda get eliminated in Q1, both a Merc and Tsunoda. So not ideal whatsoever. Oh, by the way, guys, be sure to hit the like button. If we can hit 500 likes, that would be absolutely brilliant. Currently, we are at 2,000 viewers, 1,800. That is great to see. Q2 will be starting in a matter of, I think it's 2 minutes time now. Yeah, 2 minutes till Q2 gets underway. The usual 15-minute session will see everyone out on a set of soft tires. Yeah. Leclerc did very good in the sprint, right? You think he can get a good race result? I think definitely he can. The Ferraris seem to be a little bit quicker in terms of race pace than they were in qualifying pace. They gained a couple of positions out there. So Ferraris definitely do have the race pace. And if anyone was quicker than, I think, Perez, in terms of pure lap times, I think Leclerc would have ended up on the podium in the race if it continued. If the race was a little bit longer, Hamilton would have dropped back a little bit, and Leclerc would have ended up getting that third position spot. So, yeah, Leclerc definitely does have a chance in tomorrow's race, and I think he can score some solid points and maybe even a podium for him. I think Lewis's car is now optimized for the race instead of quali, and they got all their data from the sprint. That is, that's fair to say. But then, why would they optimize just Lewis's car for qualifying and not optimize George Russell's car? Because usually the setup is pretty much identical between the drivers. There are, of course, minor tweaks that each driver will recommend, but a massive shift from one driver having a qualifying setup and one driver having a race setup is slightly unlikely, to say the least. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna have a quick drink of water. Um, yeah, nothing too much exciting going on. We're waiting now. It'll be, I think, 30 seconds or 40 seconds now till Q2 is underway, so not long. The overtakes during the sprint were really cool to watch. Indeed, they were. The racing during the sprint race was actually very good. There wasn't, well, to be fair, I watched the highlights. I didn't get up because in the UK it was at a ridiculous time in the morning. So the highlights were good, but the highlights really weren't that long. There wasn't that much action. So there was action on lap number 1 and there was action on lap number 16, and that was about it. So, yeah. Okie dokes, Q2 is underway. We have, we're 1 minute into the Q2 session, but nobody out on the circuit. Everyone just sat in the garage waiting for someone else to go out and clean up the circuit for them. And see, this is, and there we go. I think we have someone coming out onto the circuit. But yeah, Track Evolution still playing a pretty key role on this weekend, and will be, yeah, another main focus for the drivers for the teams to pay attention to. And the other thing is that they will also have to focus on getting a slipstream. If they can get a slipstream down the back straight, that is going to be absolutely, That's going to put you up at least 3 positions if you get a very good slipstream out down the back straight. 3 positions minimum, maybe even 4 or 5, depending on how close the pack is. Yeah. We're now 2 minutes into the qualifying 2 session, and nobody is out onto the circuit. Track temperature at 35 degrees, air temperature at 22 degrees, pretty standard for China. And Pirelli have used their tyres wise. It's the C3. Oh no, wait. C4 for the softs, C3 for the mediums, and C2 for the hards. Just the middle compounds of Pirelli's range, and yeah, and that's what everyone's using. The soft tires, a little bit overheat a little bit too easily on this circuit, and as we can see, we've seen a few drivers here pay the price of that. In the first sector, they go maximum attack, they go 100%. Get a purple first sector. You know, we've seen this from Albon, we've seen this from Stroll. Both drivers end up getting a purple first sector. And then in the middle sector, where you have the high speed corners of turn number 7, 6, and even turn number 10 as well, like those corners are extremely tricky to deal with when you have overheating tires, and they end up getting a slower than their personal best middle sector, and then the third sector is all right because it's mainly just a straight. So pushing too much in the first sector is also detrimental to the overall lap. So the drivers have to keep that in mind. Because I think track temperature 35 degrees, probably if it was 30 degrees, the drivers could get away with pushing in the first sector. But with 35 degrees, it's a little bit too much for the tyres to handle. And here we go now. We've got quite a few drivers making their way out of the garage with now 12 minutes left of the session. Oscar's first year in China. I hope he does well. Yeah, this is quite a few actually. Yuki Tsunoda, this is his first time racing at the Chinese Grand Prix circuit, so you can give him some slack there. Maybe that's why he isn't quicker than Daniel Ricciardo. The other driver, Logan Sargent, also has not raced here before, and Oscar Piastri as well. Those 3 drivers have not raced at this circuit before. Of course, they have now had the practice session, the sprint quali, and the sprint race, but that still gives them a pretty big disadvantage compared to the rest of the drivers who have driven here before, done entire race distances, many practice sessions as well. So those 3 drivers do have a slight disadvantage, of course, compared to the rest of the competition. All right, everyone out onto the circuit now. All 15 drivers. As you can see, the teams are. Sorry, the circuit is very big, and all the drivers are very much spread out. So not too much issues in terms of driving over each other and ending up with blocking each other. The circuit is also very wide, which helps out with not ending up in not blocking any other driver. And it's good to have a full proper wide race circuit here. I feel like those circuits usually give a little bit better racing than the street circuits. Okie dokes. So we have got first driver to come across the line will be Nico Hulkenberg, who's in fact getting a very nice tow here off Max Verstappen as he makes his way down the back straight. So we'll see. That's probably what's helped him out, actually, make it through into Q2, whereas his teammate K-Mag got knocked out. A nice little tow will make all the difference. So Hulkenberg across the line, a 134.9, purple in the third sector with a 41.0. Now, of course, let's wait and see what the rest of the drivers do. Stroll as well, look at that, getting a nice little tow there off George Russell. Okie dokes. Ocon next across the line, a 135.2. And then we have got Max Verstappen, who goes purple in the first sector. Pierre Gasly across the line in third place. behind his teammate by 7/10 of a second. A very big gap there between Gasly and Ocon, and quite a lot of that made up, in fact, just in the third sector alone. Stroll across the line in second position, a 135.0. Ricardo, a 135.2. Now, Fernando Alonso out of the final corner. What can he do? He's had quite a few purple mini sectors, and he goes up into first position, 1/10 ahead of Nico Hulkenberg. Then we've got Oscar Piastri, who across the line, a 134.6. That is 2/10 ahead of Fernando Alonso. Then we've got Albon in sixth position. Also, guys, by the way, if you are interested in F1 TV Pro, which is, the little advert that's playing in the bottom right, which unfortunately I can't get rid of. It's got all of the F1 coverage. It's got all the team radios, all of the telemetry, and all of the onboards, all of that stuff. Basically, if you're an F1 fan and you want all of the information, F1 TV Pro is the way to go. And if you are interested in it, then if you could use my link, that would really help out. Verstappen across the line, a 133.9, 5/10 quicker than Lando Norris. Wow, that is some serious pace. Leclerc across the line in eighth position. Leclerc is on a used set of tyres, so that is something to watch out for. Once he does set a lap on a fresh set, he will have. Sainz has crashed coming out the final corner, and we have got a yellow flag. DRS has been disabled. But I think Sainz will be able to recover this. Oh no, clearly not. We've had a red flag for the session. Carlos Sainz's car is going to need to be recovered because, quite a big crash there coming out the final corner. We've seen this happen before. Alex Albon did it in his first year at Red Bull, I think, or first year at Toro Rosso. I can't remember which, but Alex Albon coming out of the final corner what he did, just put too much steering lock in, got all over the curbs, and that is, cause him to spin out, and then you go straight into the barriers, and it's not great, really. Carlos Sainz has crashed and caused a red flag. He's stopped on the start-finish straight. Well, yeah. Let's wait and see what happens. No, the session will definitely restart, and it'll be restarting with 6 minutes 44 left on the clock. So no issues there. Oh wait, did Sainz crash or did he stop? It says that he's stopped. I'm gonna get a replay up. But yeah, I will be back in just a second. I'm gonna go find a replay. There we go. Sainz is driving back, in fact. So they've got a red flag for Carlos Sainz, and now they have. I'm sure Sainz has started driving again, so they're going to get him back to the pit. Well, he's going to drive back to the pits, and they'll restart the session as soon as possible. Yeah, Carlos Sainz is fine. I mean, he's driving back to the driving back to the garage, as you can see on the screen. So, yeah, absolutely fine. What else is going on? Nothing much, really. So, with 6 minutes 44 left on the clock, that'll only be enough time for one quali run. So, once they do, turn the red flag back into a green flag, the drivers will sit in the garage waiting around for other drivers to go out. And can you compete in Q2? Now, that is a question that I cannot answer because I don't have a replay up. So if anyone that is watching, if you can let me know what's up with Carlos Sainz's car. I think if he can drive back, there's nothing critical, so they might be able to replace the rest of the front wing. But see, from race control, they said he just stopped on the circuit, so maybe it's just an engine issue. All right. Danny Rick in the top 10. Yes, he is. Well, of course, Science and Russell still yet to set a lap. So I don't think that exactly counts. But yeah, he has some engine issue because he's still driving it. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing it is. Yeah. Science has lost his flux capacitor. I mean, what can I say? To fix the flux capacitor, he's going to have to go back to 88 miles an hour, and that should fix it. And there we go, Carlos Sainz coming into the pits, and they will be, well, as soon as Sainz gets back into the pits, I'm sure they'll say that it's a green flag and we'll go qualifying. Right. Let's see. Yeah, not. It'll be a matter of time now before the teams, well, before race control turns the red flag back into a green flag. They'll be sending a message over it. Probably restart in 3 minutes now. Yeah. I don't know if Science will do a lap. If he has an engine issue that caused him to stop on the circuit, then who knows? Who knows what will happen? Because if they can fix the issue, if it's just a turn off the engine, turn the engine back on, and the engine's fine, then he can get back to and he can take part in qualifying. If not, then he will take part. Science will do another lap. Right. Okay. We'll just have to keep an eye out, really. I mean, the real question is, I don't know why they haven't restarted the session yet. All right, let me what? You guys should let me know who you think is going to get pole position, or just the top three. Really, I'm going to say Verstappen, and then we'll have Leclerc, and then Lando Norris. I think that's going to be the top three. Sergio Perez seems to be a little bit off the pace this weekend, and is unable to stay on track. So, well, unable to stay with the pace of Max Verstappen. So, yeah. All right. Also, what happened to Hamilton? Uh, Hamilton, a lack of pace. That's what happened. Yeah. What about Russell? Russell just hasn't set a lap. He was on his hot lap when Carlos Sainz stopped on the circuit, so that's why they did that. Yeah. So that's why he hasn't set a lap. Um, yeah. Okie dokes. Um, can they only do one hot lap now? Yes. With only this much time left in the session, with 6 minutes 44, I don't think that they're going to have enough time to go around and do two hot laps. So yeah, it will just be one lap. Okie dokes. Verstappen did 3 hot laps yesterday in SQ3. Yeah, see, that's the thing that Verstappen did do 3 hot laps yesterday, but he did 3 hot laps in a qualifying session, in a qualifying, in a wet one. Sorry, um, which means that you don't have to do a cool down lap because your tires are already cold because it's raining, right? So you can just do a hot lap and then do another hot lap and then do another hot lap, or maybe you can have one cool down lap in the middle, but. In this sort of session where you lose maybe 3 tenths if you have a used set of tires, there's no point putting in extra fuel and then doing a hot lap, cool down lap, and then another hot lap. We've just got a message from race control. Sessions restarting in 3 minutes time. Um, yeah. Okie dokes. Yeah, not too much going on. Track is clear, of course, and session restarting in now 2 minutes. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. But yeah, Carlos Sainz, we are still yet to know if his engine issue will be fixed or not, and if his engine issue will be fixed or not. If it will be fixed, then he'll go back out onto the circuit. If not, then he'll be stuck in the garage. Yeah. All right. Sainz or Perez is going to be the second Red Bull driver. Well, yeah, there's definitely opportunity. There is opportunity for where Carlos Sainz is going to go. Where is he going to go? Could he go to Mercedes? Thing is, Mercedes really want Kimi Antonelli to drive for Mercedes. Like, all of their focus is on, like, they're going to give Kimi Antonelli like 20 test sessions in a Formula One car to hopefully get him up to speed. Um, so if they were to take another driver, it would be a 1 year contract. They would take the driver for 1 year, then they would know that Kimi Antonelli is ready, and then they would bring him into the Mercedes team. So I don't think Carlos Sainz would take a 1 year contract. Like, that's just not the kind of that's not the position where he is in his career to take a 1 year contract from anyone. Um, but yeah, so if Carlos Sainz doesn't go to Mercedes, then will he go to Red Bull? Maybe that is an option. He used to be a Red Bull driver. Okay, green light, pit lane exit is open. Yeah, there we go. George Russell, first driver out onto the circuit. Looks like he's going to try and do 2 hot laps here. Um, because coming out this early would be quite bad in terms of track evolution. Everyone else will do a bunch more laps behind you, and then you'll have a worse track conditions when you're doing your lap. So I'm not sure. Right, 6 minutes left in the session, and yeah, Yuki will be in Aston Martin 2026 as Honda comes in. Well, see, that would be absolutely brilliant, but Fernando Alonso, his contract is confirmed till 2026. He will be driving for Aston Martin up until that point, into the new regulations. So unless Lance Stroll is going to get kicked out by his own dad, then I don't think Yuki Tsunoda will be driving for Aston Martin. Aston Martin, of course, will have their partnership with Honda at that point in time. So Honda will, Honda being a Japanese company and Yuki Tsunoda being a Japanese driver, they would really push for Yuki Tsunoda driving in the Aston Martin. But what is the chance that he is going to drive when Lance Stroll's dad owns the team? Um, yeah, very, very strange situation, to be honest. How do you refer to me? As you just refer to me as the F1 gamer, probably, or you can just call me gamer. I don't know. If you, yeah, as long as you do the at, I'll probably be able to see a message. Um, Yeah. Right. How did he crash? Nobody crashed. I think you might talk about Science. Science just had a. I think he had a mechanical issue. Yeah, it appears to be a mechanical issue. But they managed to, sort of put the car into limp home mode and in a safe mode, and then they drove the car back into the pits. So maybe they can fix the car, maybe not. I'm sure the team are working on it. All right, Russell's on a flying lap, and so is Max. Well, Verstappen's about to start a flying lap. Sorry, Russell's currently on a flying lap, going through turn number 7 and 8, doing a pretty decent job there on a set of soft tires that he's using right now. Yeah, we have now 4 minutes to go to the end of this session. And also, by the way, currently the qualifying head-to-head, which was, the qualifying head-to-head between Tsunoda and Ricciardo was 4-0 to Yuki Tsunoda. At this Grand Prix, Ricciardo has out-qualified Yuki Tsunoda, so it'll be 4-1 at the end of this qualifying session. Yeah. Here they go then. George Russell comes out of the final corner. What can he do? Look at that. George Russell's third sector, slower than his personal best every single time because, yeah, he just didn't have a toe. But he comes across the line in third place. And, yeah, a fairly decent lap from George Russell. We'll wait and see what the rest can do, though. That is something to keep an eye on. Science is coming out. So, yeah, Ferrari were clearly checking and they managed to fix the issue in that little red flag period. So, Science is back out onto the circuit. We'll wait and see what he can do. With 2 minutes 20 left on the clock now, Verstappen comes across the line a 133.7, a massive improvement, a 2/10 improvement, I think, on his previous lap. And now the gap between himself and Lando Norris is 6/10 of a second, absolutely enormous. The blue color means that the drivers are coming out of the pit lane, so you can tell if they're on an in lap or an out lap. Yeah, but yeah, Max Verstappen, he goes slower than his personal best in the first sector, and then purple in the second and the third sector. So that's exactly what I was saying. If your driver does not push as hard in the first sector, you can gain a massive amount of time in the second and the third sector. Um, so that might be something to keep an eye on. We'll wait and see if some other drivers try this. They go purposefully slow in the first sector, so in the second and the third sector, they can reap the rewards of tires that aren't overheating. Um, what is track evolution and why does it matter? That is a really good question. So, track evolution effectively is when these cars drive over a certain part of the circuit, they're driving over, and the only part of the car that's in contact with the road is, of course, the tires. And Formula One tires, they wear out extremely quickly, and the rubber on those tires comes off the tire and gets deposited on the road. So, in the little cracks between the rocks on the road, there's rubber that gets squished into the road. And what happens is when a piece of rubber is in contact with another piece of rubber, you have a lot more grip than compared to if rubber was in contact with a piece of stone or rock that's on the road. So the more and more drivers like drive on this circuit, the more and more rubber gets deposited onto the racing line, which means that when they're driving over, like the more rubber there is, the quicker that they're going to go. So track evolution is basically just the more rubber. Like when we say there is track evolution, there's just a lot more rubber being deposited on the circuit, which means the lap times get quicker and quicker because there's more and more grip available. So yeah, and it matters because well, it reduces your lap time. So it ends up mattering quite a bit. So top three currently in the pits: Verstappen, Norris, and Russell. They won't be able to do another lap. Fernando Alonso across the line up into fourth position, a 1:34.6, only half a tenth behind George Russell, but nearly a second behind Max Verstappen. That is ridiculous how quick he is. Then we have got Ocon across the line up into 11th position. That means he will be getting knocked out of Q2. Danny Rick currently in 12th place. He's across the line into 9th. He's still at risk of getting knocked out here. Sergio Perez goes purple in the first sector, green in the middle sector, does not have a toe down the back straight, and let's see what he can do. Carlos Sainz across the line into second place. He is half a second behind Max Verstappen. Nobody is close to him whatsoever. Albon across the line, sorry, he does not improve. Leclerc into third place, just behind his teammate by 25 milliseconds, very, very close between those two drivers. Perez across the line into second place. He is the only driver that's closer than half a second to Max Verstappen. Bottas across the line in 10th place. And then Oscar Piastri he's currently in 8th, is going to come across the line, or is he going to go straight into the pits? No, he goes straight into the pits. He's been told over the radio to abort the lap. There's no need to come in. There's no need to do a hot lap. And yeah, so that has been Q2, folks. And the drivers eliminated are Stroll, Ricciardo, Ocon, Albon, and Gasly. So Valtteri Bottas in the kick Sauber makes it through. That is a seriously good lap there from Valtteri Bottas. In the Sauber, I think they must have brought upgrades. But Bottas doing a very good job bringing all of the pace out of that car, and now is up into 10th position. Very, very good job indeed. And maybe he can go on and score some points tomorrow as well. Okie dokes. Yeah, Q2 will be underway. Q3 will be underway in probably 3 minutes now. We'll get a message from race control because it was delayed. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. That will really help out the channel. And hopefully you are enjoying the coverage. Yeah, Hamilton just had a really bad lap, and that's why he's in 18th position. Fortunate, really. Right. Q3, sorry, will start in 5 minutes time. So yeah, 5 minutes till Q3 is underway. Let me know who you think is going to get pole, but I think it's fair enough. It's quite clear already who's going to get pole position. The Ferraris really do not look as if they can compete with the Red Bulls today. And the only hope remains is Sergio Perez, and he is 2 tenths behind Max Verstappen. So yeah, that's a solid guess there from Obama Gaming. Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, and Norris. That's going to be the top 5 in Q3. I'm a huge Ricciardo fan, but I'm not looking forward to my fellow fans trying to clown on Yuki for a race he's never been to before. Yeah, that is a good point. Piastri has not been at this circuit before. Neither has Sonoda, and neither has Sargent. So these drivers do have a bit of a disadvantage. Now, of course, all of these drivers haven't raced. The F1 hasn't raced here, sorry, since 2020. So there is, drivers will have forgotten quite a few things, but if you've raced at the circuit before, you will remember a lot more and inevitably have an advantage over someone that hasn't raced here. So Sonoda, Piastri, and Sargent will be given a pass for this weekend since they, there's no need to say that they're like terrible drivers or anything because they're clearly not. And yeah. By the way, Science here in Q2 is an example of why we can't kick a driver from qualifying for causing a red flag. He's totally redeemed himself. Yeah, whatever sort of engine issue they had, it seemed very, very temporary because he stopped on the side of the circuit. They managed to get it going, and then he drove back to the pits. I'm sure the team did a couple other checks, maybe turned off a few sensors, and he was just fine. So, yeah. Why is quali delayed? Quali was delayed because of a red flag. But Q3, sorry, will be starting in 2 minutes time. So, not long now, not long. There we go. The screen has refreshed, so we'll be getting underway shortly. All right, track temperature has come down a little bit. We've got a 33-degree track temperature rather than 35. That's just going to help out with the drivers' overheating issues. So yeah, with these soft tires, overheating is quite prevalent here, and a little bit too much overheating, frankly, happens over the course of one lap. So yeah, a decrease in track temperature will definitely help out. How's the weather? Any rain? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I would love for there to be some rain, but there is none whatsoever, which is frankly ruining my mood. We would have had some exciting qualifying if there was some rain, like we did yesterday. I mean, yesterday's qualifying session was so exciting. There were laps coming in like for the entire session, people improving, laps getting better. Like it was very very good. So how long till Q3? Approximately 1 minute. So yeah, hang in there, and Q3 will be underway shortly. Right. Okie dokes. Yeah, I would like to point out Hulkenberg and Bottas have done an absolutely fantastic job here, making it through into Q3. Um, Ideally, it probably would have been Stroll and Hamilton that made it through, but both of those drivers have not delivered, and Hulkenberg and Bottas have done a solid job and made their way through into Q3, which is great. And props to them, and hopefully they can score some points because their teams desperately do need some points. And there we go. We have got Hulkenberg and Russell out onto the circuit. And in fact, quite a few drivers coming out. Looks like they want to set an early banker lap and then go out as late as possible later on. So we've got Hulkenberg, Russell, the two Red Bulls, Alonso, and I'm sure we'll see the rest of the drivers come out as well. There we go, Piastri as well. What caused Alonso to DNF in the sprint? Alonso got a front right puncture. So they were squabbling away, and I think Alonso braked a little bit too late, ended up um, touching Carlos Sainz's like car with his front right tire, and then yeah, got a puncture off that. So he came into the pits, and with only 3 laps left to go, they decided there was no point pitting for a different set of tires because if they use a different set of tires and drive only 3 laps, he's not going to get any points, and those fresh set of tires are going to be used up. So they basically were just like, nah, we're not going to use any tires. We're just going to retire the car. We weren't going to score any points anyway. So fair enough. The qualifying yesterday was for the sprint race. So what they've done this year, they've been modifying this setup, and it's been a little bit confusing really for quite a lot of the fans. But the setup that what they've decided is that the sprint race and the sprint qualifying are totally their own separate thing. They'll happen Friday afternoon and then Saturday morning, and then after the sprint things are done, then we'll go back to normal qualifying. So effectively, they replace FP2 with sprint quali, and then they replace FP3 with the sprint race. Yeah, that's about what happens. So this qualifying is for the actual race, and what will be dictating the positions for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Yeah, I didn't even know there's a sprint race. Well, you didn't really miss out on much. That's all I'm going to say. There was about 2 laps of racing action. So the sprint race was a couple hours ago. The sprint qualifying was once again quite eventful, but that was just because of the rain. So there was 8 minutes of interesting qualifying. So, it is what it is. Just came back home from the exam. What is the update? The sprint is over. Yeah, the sprint race was 3 hours ago. But the qualifying is underway, and the update is for Lewis Hamilton gets knocked out in Q1, alongside Yuki Tsunoda, and then because of that, Hulkenberg and Bottas make it through into Q3, and Red Bull are miles ahead of everyone else today. They have just got far too much pace, to be honest. Hulkenberg across the line for the first lap of Q3, a 135.4. George Russell will be the next driver across the line, a 135.6. He's slower than Nico Hulkenberg, which is very strange. So maybe that was just a very good lap from Hulkenberg, or Russell made a mistake. I'm not sure. Verstappen across the line, a 133.9. That's slower than his actual personal best in Q2. He set a 133.7 in Q2. So, yeah, a little bit slower. And Perez as well going slower than he did in Q2, 134.4. Next up, Fernando Alonso, a 134.3 into second place ahead of Sergio Perez. That is great to see. Right, we've got the McLarens and the Ferraris now. Here comes Piastri, 4th position for him behind Sergio Perez. Next up, Carlos Sainz, 2 green sectors for him, only 5th place. Then we've got Charles Leclerc. Oh no, sorry, we've got Lando Norris now. He's up into 4th ahead of Piastri by 1/10 of a second. And then we've got Charles Leclerc, who's currently in 7th place. So yeah, the two Ferrari drivers so closely matched. There is three milliseconds between them. Yeah, Carlos Sainz is 3 milliseconds ahead of Charles Leclerc, which is ridiculous. How close those two drivers are. Norris and Piastri, there's a 10th between those two because, fair enough. Norris and Piastri has not driven at this circuit before, so benefit of the doubt, he's a little bit slower. And Fernando Alonso, wow, up into 2nd place. That is a sensational lap from him. And, hopefully he starts in 2nd place. That would be great. I would love to see that. We'll just have to wait and see. 6 minutes left. If Fernando Alonso can be up in 2nd place, that is absolutely fantastic. Right. Bottas hasn't set a lap. He will be coming out on he'll only be doing 1 lap in Q3. I don't think Kick Sauber actually predicted that they'd make it through into Q3. So, yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, 5 minutes, 40 seconds remain on the clock. Everyone coming in to do their in lap. Oh, why is the data just frozen now? That is terrible timing. Right, I'm going to do a quick refresh. The data will be back in 15 seconds. But yeah, apologies for the frozen data. It should be fine. I don't know why it does that though. There we go. And yeah, the drivers making their way into the garage. Is there any probability of rain? Unfortunately, not. It is a 32-degree track temperature, no rain whatsoever. Yeah. Lagging again. Yeah, apologies. I don't know what's up with my internet today. Usually it's pretty good. Um, so I'm probably gonna have to sort that out. Actually, I know how to sort it out. I will get it sorted out for tomorrow's race. It didn't have any problems yesterday though, which I was a bit surprised by. If it was, why is it not working today if it was working yesterday? Anyway, it is what it is. Also, guys, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. That would very much be appreciated. Definitely will help out the channel. No problems, mate. We're more than happy to be here for the dope commentary for free. The lags are fine. Very well, very much do appreciate it, buddy. Very much do appreciate it. Binaya Sahu. Why are they in the pits? They're in the pits just refueling, getting on a fresh set of tyres, and yeah, just waiting for the most late possible, the latest possible moment. And also, one thing that I just like to point out, if you are interested in F1 TV Pro, link is pinned in the chat and in the description. It'll really help out the channel, and and you guys can get all the coverage, all the onboards, all of the driver cams, all the team radio. Anything that you want F1 related, there is. That would be brilliant. Oh, and the other thing is that it gives you you can watch races from the 1970s and stuff, which is brilliant. I'm interested in F1 TV Pro, but don't have the money. Yeah, unfortunately, I asked them if I could do giveaways and stuff, and they were just like, "No, you can't do a giveaway." So, not very nice. And the other thing what did I ask them? Um, oh my god, my internet is having a bad day. It's frozen again. There we go. Yeah, if my internet could stop breaking, that'd be fantastic. And I think it's fine again now. Right. Um, there we go. All right, everyone is out onto the circuit here. As you can see, Fernando Alonso, second to last driver, taking part. Well, second to last driver, going to doing his lap. So that means that he will have nearly the most optimal track conditions. Of course, um, it'll be Perez who has the most perfect conditions, but it'll be close enough. We have got Hulkenberg starting his laps, and then we've got Russell, then we've got Sainz, then Leclerc, Piastri, Bottas, Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, then Perez. So that's going to be your running for today. And if Alonso times this nicely, he might even get a toe off the drivers ahead of him. Yeah. All right. Is that you in the bottom right? Yeah, the bottom right, like the little thing moving around, is whenever I talk. Yeah. Okie dokes. So 1 minute left on the clock, and everyone making their way around now to get a flying lap in. Everyone improving as well. Look at this. Nico Hulkenberg has got a purple mini sector. That is quite the surprise. Charles Leclerc have a purple mini sectors. A couple of purple mini sectors from George Russell as well. Let's wait and see what the rest of the drivers can do. But green for basically everyone in the first sector. Norris doesn't improve in the first sector, but maybe he's going for that strategy. Slightly slow in the first sector, much quicker in the second and third sector. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Max is 4 tenths ahead of everyone else. There's no need for him to go out. He's going to get pole position anyway. Hulkenberg improves quite significantly, actually, up into sixth position. George Russell up into third place. So track's definitely improving, and let's see what Carlos Sainz can do out of the hairpin, braking very, very late indeed. And so is Charles Leclerc. Leclerc with a purple middle sector. That is a good sign for him. Here comes Carlos Sainz out of the final corner. Second place for Carlos Sainz, not close enough to Max Verstappen. 3/10 is the gap between himself and Max. Leclerc across the line, he's up into second. He goes 8 milliseconds ahead of Sainz this time. So previously the gap was Sainz was 3 milliseconds ahead. This time Leclerc's 8 milliseconds ahead. Wow, Piastri up into second place. A really good lap there from Piastri. Bottas across the line, only 10th place for him. Unfortunately, he can't go any higher. Lando Norris now coming across the line. Second place for Norris. He goes 1/10 ahead of Piastri. So the McLaren's definitely quicker than the Ferraris this weekend. Max Verstappen still in the lead of this race. He comes across the line to go half a second quicker than Norris. Half a second. Wow. And now we've got Fernando Alonso. He was quickest in the first part of the lap, and here he comes out of the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Can he go up into second place? That would be brilliant. Yes, he can. Fernando Alonso up into second place. Now it's just Sergio Perez left. Will he go into second? Will he go into third? Perez up into second, and Alonso is pushed down into third place. Wow. So that has been Q1. Q3. But half a second gap between Verstappen and Alonso, and 3/10 of a second between Verstappen and Perez. Just absolute domination here from Max Verstappen. Absolutely no remorse, nothing. He's just destroyed the competition. And yeah, Perez in second place, Alonso in third, Norris in fourth, Piastri in fifth, Leclerc in sixth, Sainz in seventh, Russell in eighth, Hulkenberg in ninth, and Bottas in 10th to close out the top 10. So what I'm going to say here is that tomorrow, although we're probably not going to have that much exciting stuff in the top for the podiums, actually for the podium positions, like Alonso, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, and Sainz, all of these 5 drivers are going to be battling away for the podium. I think Fernando Alonso is going to have a little bit of tyre wear issues like he did today in the sprint, but maybe Aston Martin can work around that, find a different strategy that will work out. And then, yeah, let's see what they can do. And there's going to be a good battle between Ferrari and McLaren in the race because their race pace is quite similar. And Ferraris tends to be a little bit quicker in the race compared to the McLarens normally. So maybe we'll have an Alonso train. As Robbie says, Alonso just holding everyone up. But with quite a long straight on this circuit, I don't think that's going to be happening. Yeah. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much do appreciate your support. Once again, my internet has just crashed. Well, not crashed. It's just giving a little bit of a lag. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be commentating tomorrow as normal. And I think that's about it, really. Yeah, I'll be commentating tomorrow as normal. I will end today's stream. It will take you to tomorrow's stream. So just go ahead and press the reminder button. That'll help out the channel. And that's it, folks, really. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you tomorrow for the Chinese Grand Prix. Cheers, fellas.